Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whenever you are watching this. Welcome back to another year of the Teacher's Desk. It is Hope and Lori, and we are teachers, talking to parents, talking to people about our experiences as teachers. How you been doing, Lori?
I've been surviving.
Yes, survival mode is a good way to call it. As you all know, we are back in school. Remember, last school year we were virtual and we debated all of the pros and cons and everything. We ended up, I think, a hybrid model, which was a chore, and it was just a trying year. We did get the vaccine. We talked about that, and we were kind of hesitant, but we both end up getting the vaccine. And I know my family is fully vaccinated except for the one that's too young. What about yours?
Same here.
Yep, same here. So we are
That's the
protected,
one that's not.
and now we are back fully in person, still in the COVID pandemic, and we have some very strong feelings towards this as well. So, Lori, what has been your experience thus far?
Well, where should I
Mm,
start? Okay, no, my experience hasn't been too hard or too. I don't want to say bad, but it hasn't been too hard. Um, let's see, where can we start? I feel. Let me talk about how I feel as
okay.
far as the school system and decisions that was made. So we are back full in person, like you said. We ended off though with the hybrid model, and we had to go back. I think we should go back a little bit and talk about that. How we ended. We went back to school. I think in I want to say April of this
Yeah, I
year.
think we went in March and you all went after us.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
went in April, which I really liked the rollout of how our school system did it. They kind of rolled us out first. Teachers were there at least like 2 to 3 weeks before the students came. We were able to prepare and get used to wearing that mask all day. That
Hmm.
was like a kicker for me because I was
Right,
like, I
right,
can't wear no mask all day. And I ended up doing it because I wanted to live and I
right.
didn't want to get sick. Um, but I liked it because we went to school. Our students came based on their letters, the last letters of their name. A through J came Monday and Thursday, and then K through Z came Tuesday and Friday. And Wednesday, everyone was home because that's when they would do the deep cleaning in between, and we did remediation or interventions on Wednesdays. And I kind of like that model. I got kind of used to it. And we didn't. We started off with more kids in the beginning coming to in person, but as they started to see that, oh no, things are a little different. I'm not going to be able to talk to my friend the way I was. We are not
Hmm.
moving like we were supposed to, like we used to before COVID. A lot of the students was like, this is whack. I don't want to come back to school.
Right.
And we wanted to stay home. So our numbers got really small. And we were able to be, let me see, April, May, June. We were able to do the 2 months, 2, 3 months without having any breakout of COVID. So
Hmm.
how was your experience? Was that
I
the
think
same?
they're fairly the same. I know we started in March, and in my school system, they gave parents a choice on if they wanted their kids to come back in person or
Same here.
virtual.
Same here.
And many of them so chose to stay virtual.
Mhm.
We did have higher numbers when we first returned, but those kids began to wane for a few things. One, because in person, we our classes were 90 minutes. The kids only had to stay on for an hour. Another was what you said, they didn't get socialized and go to the area and see their friends like they thought the school would be that social time. So we did have some that kind of fell off. Now we went Monday through Thursday, and Friday was a remediation day.
Hmm.
And but the teachers came. We were all year. We didn't have a time when we were virtual. All year the teachers came
Ah.
at least 3 days a week. We had to come into the building even though we were teaching the kids virtual. So by the time that the kids came in, the teachers were already there and had stuff. We were already kind of in the mode of going back and forth to school. So we did have some incidences where we had to, they were going to bring them back, and then they had to push for things. But for the most part, like you said, it went well. We had a couple kids that end up getting COVID here and there, but no outbreak in the school. I think the difficult part was just trying to balance and maintain those kids online and the kids in class. But even that got to be, we got in the groove of that as well. I appreciated the schedule. Because that day that was devoted to remediation and makeup, I think was very useful for a lot of kids. And just the fact that we were able to have less kids in the building. Now, my daughter's school, which is an elementary, because I'm in middle elementary, they went either Monday and Wednesday or Tuesday and Thursday. If they were in person. So on Friday, everybody virtual. So
now, were you able to do virtual at home on the Friday, or you came into the building? Because with us, we were in the building, whether it was in person and during the hybrid, we were all in the building except for those that had ADA accommodations. But Wednesdays, everyone was home.
No, so we were in the building. So different schools did different. I know they were to come in at least 3 days a week. At our school, they had to be there on Friday, but allowed us to choose our other days of the week. But one those days you were locked into it. It wasn't like I could come Monday and Tuesday and then the next week Wednesday. Whatever day I chose to come, I had to come those days. But then everybody was there on Friday.
So you didn't have to go every day, because we did.
I didn't. I could choose to. Now this was when the kids were virtual. This is when the kids were virtual.
I'm talking about back in the spring.
Okay. Right. Back in when school first started and the kids were virtual, we went 3 days a week. By the time the kids came back, then we were there every day. But the kids only came Monday through Thursday. So, we had some teachers that would come in every day just because they needed that separation and they could work better. I know I went quite a few days when I could have stayed home just to kind of get some things done. But whereas we thought that was a difficult situation there, I am in the mode now where I'm wishing that we would go back to hybrid.
So that was the reason why I brought it up.
Right.
That's why I went back, because I said up until maybe a few days ago, I was like, we should have just rolled out the way we left.
Right.
And gradually return back to in person.
Yes.
I felt like I know why. I get it. I understand why they want to why there's such a push for the kids to be in person. You got the social piece, the emotional piece of, and then you got parents that have to go to work. I get it, but I just feel safety wise, I don't think it's the best choice.
Yes, I definitely agree. I get why, it is a push. However, I think that it isn't a way that it could be done safely at this point. And I think that they bend the rules almost to breaking the rules just to get into those guidelines. And I feel like they're using a vaccine as a catch-all excuse. Oh, you're vaccinated, you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
That has been a major point of contention for me. That's the answer to a lot. Well, oh, you're vaccinated, you should get the vaccine. I'm like, vaccinated people are still getting it. They're still passing it. They're still, and so it has been, we don't have 3 feet apart because there's no way we could fit all those kids in there with 3 feet apart.
Not when all the kids are attending at the same time.
Not when they're attending at the same time. Yes, the kids wear their masks to an extent, but they have to be constantly reminded to pull it up over their nose. And some of them even try to take it down because, of course, if you're drinking something, you don't have to have it up, and the kids need a water bottle, so they'll drink it all day. And if you're drinking water all day, then you're going to the bathroom all day, which we can't control the bathroom. So it just has been very difficult to remain positive about the safety aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with the social, loving having my kids back. I wish we could get back into our regular routine, but I just feel the safety aspect of the COVID pandemic. To me, the numbers are higher now than we went out when we went out the first time, but yet we're coming back now as if business is normal when
Mm-hmm.
we had all those safety concerns in the beginning. So it's difficult. It has been very difficult.
Yeah, I have like a couple of things I want to say based on what you said. The first thing is, if you are a hands-on teacher, which I am totally hands-on, this is a struggle for me,
Mm-hmm.
personally, on a personal level, because I am used to working like hands on with my students. Like if they need help, going over to them, seeing what they're working on, taking their notebook, looking at their notebook, going over their shoulders, standing over them, making sure they're getting what they're supposed to be getting. If they need, a lot of my students need that extra nudge, like, okay, you need to tap on the shoulder, let's go, get up, let's get. And now I have to constantly say, um, okay, 3 feet. Like programming my
I'm
system.
doing all of that,
And
Lori.
I'm saying and I'm still like getting closer than I'm probably supposed to. Um, but it's hard. It's hard to do
I'm
it.
doing it because how can we not do it? We
Yeah.
have to go over to them. I have to point out stuff. I have to say this line and not that line. Point to
Yeah.
this. How can we teach middle school students from a distance
And so,
in the classroom? And I teach science. Let me say this. I teach
yeah.
science. So we have labs. We have hand-on things. We have to share supplies. And I recently had I had a student who was missing some assignments. And
Mm,
so I called the parent and let her know that he was missing assignments. And we spoke. And I was saying, he seems like he's distant. He doesn't want to work. He's not working in the group and this and that. She revealed to me later on that he has anxiety about COVID, about working with the in the group, and that she has a condition at home. And I have to agree with it. Like I cannot. All I can say is, I would try to get him his own equipment so he can do things, and he could take the wipes and wipe down as much as he can. But I'm understanding that, and it's a shame that they don't feel like that they had a choice as to stay home or come to school. And I have to teach my class, so you completely right about that.
yeah. And then you have, like you said, the anxiety. Okay, so I had a few students like a couple of weeks ago. I had to watch a class because that's another issue that when teachers, that there's no substitute, nobody wants to substitute right now. Nobody's
Right.
going to go in a classroom. So I was substituting a class for a teacher that was out during my planning. And when I went in there, the students like 5 or 6 students, they busted out their wipes, they wiped down their desk, they wiped around everything. And I'm sitting here watching them. I'm like, wow. First of all, I was amazed because I was like, well, I hope my kids are doing stuff like this, my
Mm-hmm.
own personal children. And I don't see any, I didn't see any other students, but they're younger. They're younger students. It seems like the younger kids are a little bit more anxious than the older kids. The older kids are a little more like laid
Mm-hmm.
back. They don't really
Yeah,
do
I
any
have a
of that.
couple students that's really serious about wiping
Now,
down.
my question is, you're in the middle school, I am too. Are they eighth graders or are they seventh graders? Or
I
sixth?
have sixth and seventh grade.
Right. The younger
Right.
kids, but the eighth graders, they're like, COVID, yeah, all right.
They still. I have a lot of kids that's still in the social mode.
Really?
So they are really all into each other and not really
Yeah,
caring about the
right. That's what
safety
I'm saying.
mitigation. Right.
And the sixth and
But I
seventh
have
graders.
a handful of kids, like you said, that are serious that I could tell had some anxiety. And it was things that I think I didn't think about going into it that you don't think about until you get there. Like my voice has gone out the last couple of weeks because it usually goes out at the beginning of school because I'm talking more. I'm projecting my voice. I'm in the hallway saying, get to class, I'm doing all of that. But now because of the mask,
That's what matters.
I'm talking over the mask, trying to yell, trying to get the kids to understand. My hearing, I'm constantly saying, what? What are you saying? Say it again. Then I'll say to the kids, what did they say? like to whoever's beside them. I'm like, what do they say? Because I can't really hear. The communication has been rough. Another thing is the desk shields. The kids can't see over the desk shields, and I can't hardly see the kids. So when I'm showing something on the board and I'm using, they standing up to see the board because it depending on where you're sitting in the room, those kids in front of you, you can't see the desk sheet, your things. And again, I'm science. If we're working in a group, which 7th and 8th grade is group based, they have to fold down their desk shields to work within the group. So it's certain things that, you don't really think about that fairly complicates this in person with these safety mitigation that they have.
Yeah, the face mask, what you were saying, interesting. Because do you wear K95 and 95?
I
Because that's what,
don't.
oh, that's what I wear, and so it's really hard to talk through those. And I told my students last week, I said, 10 years from now, when we don't have to wear masks anymore, we're gonna be all screaming at each other, and your
Right.
kids are gonna say to you, "Why do you talk so loud?" And you're
Right.
gonna say,
Exactly.
"Oh, because in 2020 to 2019 to 2021 or 2022, whatever, I had to yell through my mask to talk to
Right. And
people,
how many times have you seen people pull their mask
to
away
talk."
so that people could talk or hear
Yeah,
them or whatever? And
yeah,
that's dangerous there. So
that is.
but you feel like you have to do that just so the person can hear you and understand what you're saying. Because when you're talking, the mask keeps sucking into your mouth.
Yeah,
It keeps sucking in, so then you pulling it away, it's getting wet, you're switching out the mask. It is just,
a
it
lot.
has been difficult.
It's
I
a
mean, we'll
lot.
get used to it. We'll get over it.
I've
But it's
gotten
just one
very
of
used
those
to
things
it.
that it's going to take some getting used to. And the average person doesn't think about that. And we didn't think about it before we actually, I mean, you thought that you had to wear a mask, but just, I got to scream over it. I can't understand what they saying. They can't understand what I'm saying. It's been difficult. Another thing is we have lockers at our school. Do you all, your
Ooh.
kids using lockers?
Oh no, we're not using. Matter of fact, yeah, we don't. No
We're
lockers.
using
'Cause lockers,
lockers.
I don't
So
understand
we got
because
sixth graders that don't know how to open their lockers, and who's helping them? Teachers. They're coming over to the locker. So that's another point of contact when you close with the kid, trying to help them and show them how to open their locker or opening it for them.
now
We also,
I'm
huh?
sorry. I was just gonna say about the lockers before you get on to the next topic is that lockers are usually a place of congregation. So how are you all not monitoring that the kids are not congregating? Because I know, like all the years I've been teaching in middle school, like lockers, that's where everything jump off at. Like that's
Well,
where
the
the
kids are going to congregate because the lockers are this close together.
yeah, that's what I'm
So it's
saying.
no
So,
way that they can be at their
so that's
locker and
why
not
they
be around people.
decided.
They just clumped up, and then they got the book bags and the this and the that. We fairly tend to kind of just come on, move it along. What are you doing? You had some kids that try to wait for their friend or over here, trying to do that. We try to move the kids along, but the bathroom, you can't control who's congregating in the bathroom because there's no bathroom attendant. They're not letting them go in between classes to kind of control that traffic. But if each of us as a teacher let one person go during class, that's a bunch of kids in the bathroom. We don't have a way of knowing who else is in there. So there are places where kids are going to clump together in groups before school. I don't know about your school, but we don't have school buses, so the kids get dropped off. They're standing outside together in a group, together talking. They outside. Some of them
Yeah.
don't have their mask. Some of them do have their mask. So it's just so many different dynamics that I think that cause anxiety. And that is what this year has been so far as safety. Just a lot of uncertainty, distrust. I really kind of feel like a lot of teachers now distrust their school system. I feel like school systems kind of showed us last year where they put us on the totem pole. And a lot of us are now like, they don't care about us. They just doing whatever.
I
They not take, I just think that it's a level of distrust there that has made it difficult as well.
I don't think it's just the school system. I think I'm looking at it on a higher level because the simple fact that you have our president that said we're going to make sure that all the kids go back to school.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, okay, then I know our school system. One thing I can say is that our person who's in charge, which some places will say superintendent, CEO, whatever you want to call it, tried to hold out as long as they could
Mm-hmm.
to make. I mean, I think we were like the last school system to actually go back to school, and I
Yeah.
give all hats off to that person because I know they were like, our governor was like, you gotta open school, you have to, and they were trying to make it as safe as possible. So I do give credit because I even had a friend from another school system leave their school system to come to ours because of the decisions that was made based on last year.
Well,
So
that is good. That's great. And I do think, like you're saying, the federal law forced a lot of school systems' hands. And we're seeing evidence of these school systems. I know we have an upcoming episode where we talk about the New York vaccines and
mhm.
that mandate. And we have seen evidence of school systems, just some that have been very favorable towards teachers, towards parents and students, and some that have just push the limit because I don't know if they don't take it seriously or they just didn't think it was a big deal. But we've seen them rush back a little sooner
Well,
and
it has
not
to do with
have
money.
things in
It
place.
has to do with money.
It
It's
has to
money.
do with money.
It's
They
everything to
fudging
do
the
with money.
numbers. They're not being serious with the numbers. They're not giving us all of the information, but they expect us to go on a business as usual. Of course, we do what we need to do for the kids, and that is our saving grace. That we are there, we make it happen, we sacrifice, we do what we need to do for our students. But we just want a little respect too. We want people to take us seriously. When I say I have a concern about the health and the safety mitigation and all of that stuff, I just sometimes don't think that they really take us seriously. They make it seem like, well, you had a vaccine. As long as you have the vaccine, you're fine. And I think that has been their answer to it all.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that in the next episode. And
Yes. So it is we're just going to continue through. I know we'll have a ton to talk about this school year as we continue to unpack the school systems and their decisions and how that affects teachers, students, and parents. Because I think even though one of the things was getting back to school, getting back to parents getting back to work, it has become a burden for parents to have to take off every so often to get kids tested. They got to stay home for 10 days. They
yeah,
need
we got to talk about that next.
yeah, so it's somewhat of a burden if you have to stop every 10 days, or some kids have had to be out for as much as 24 days because of the new guidelines.
Yeah,
So it has not been a catch all fix to going back to school as they thought that it was going to be.
right.
And then we'll talk about those decisions. What are they doing about those kids? Because my school system has come up with something interesting on that point that adds a new layer. So, this was good. This was therapeutic just to get this part out. And we appreciate all of our Facebook likes. And we just wanted to thank everyone for liking our page. Please comment. Please give us ideas. Please let us know what you would like to hear. And we look forward to hearing from you and discussing more and just letting you get inside our heads and be part of our therapy session.
Yes, yes,
So thank you for stopping by the teacher's desk. You all have a good day.
yes.
Bye
Have a
bye.
good day. Bye.